So what I'm playing around with here is we've decided to change the filler neck on the standard Kawi tank. So this is the original setup, which isn't bad, but it's just a bit bulky and we're trying to do something a little bit different. So what my brother's bought for the bike is this, I guess you'd call it a flush mount fuel cap, which works like that. Aluminium cap with like a plastic threaded insert, and it's got the breather and everything included in that. And then a steel welding bung. The size of that is pretty close. So my plan is to hopefully carefully cut this out without destroying any of the meat of the actual tank. And then I'll be able to simply drop the new neck in and then weld it up, put the new cap in, done. The way I'm planning on going about it, I'm just going to use a 1mm cut-off disc on my grinder. First I'll take these lugs here off, like I'll cut through that way, just to get them out of the road. Then if I'm careful, I'll be able to come through this way, all the way around and fully cut that out. What's left of the meat of that inside, I should be able to get my die grinder in there. In theory, that should work. So there it is, chopped out. I got it fairly neat. That's the new bung there. Now I've just got to try and die grind just that remainder of the old filler until it releases, and then I'll be able to just drop this one in, weld her up, done. I've ground all the filler neck out. That wasn't too bad. Moment of truth, will it fit? Oh, like a cock in a sock. Now it'll just be a matter of cleaning up the paint around this area and then weld it in. Should be good to go. So the fuel tank filler's all ready to weld up now. I've just given it a bit of a clean out on the inside to get all the paint and filings and stuff out of it before I weld it. Now I'm going to change over the tungsten of my TIG. So last welding I was doing was aluminium, so I've got the rounded off zirconated tungsten in there. I'll take that out. And I'm going to put a thoriated 1.6 tungsten in. I basically just have two setups ready to go with all the parts interchangeable. That way I don't have to spend as long changing them over every time I want to change from welding steel or aluminium. As you can see, the thoriated tungsten, we sharpen it to a tip just so that the arc flows better off the end of the tungsten. Both my setups and gas lenses. That's good to go now. It's all tucked in now. Got the joint fairly close all the way around, which is good. considering. Got a little bit of distortion, but I think the panel beater spray painter that we'll use will be able to sort that out, no worries, and get it all nice and flush. Should be good. So this swing arm's off, I think it's a 1989 Honda NSR 250. The reason we chose it was the mounting width up here was pretty close to what we needed to fit within the standard frame. We did end up having to get some bushers and adapters made so that it would bolt up all good. Now that it's on, it's fine, and I've shortened the length of the swing arm by 50mm. It was a pretty simple job really. I just marked the standard arm, cut it back shorter. Re-put in these billet ends. And then welded them back in. So what I'm doing here is I've taken the rear wheel off. Now what I'm doing is, so this custom brake carrier, it's a custom carrier that NSR 250 guys have used and developed. So what it does is it converts the caliper from being on the top to a low mount, and also allows guys to use these Brembo calipers, which I'm assuming are better than standard. So we found workshop drawings and plans to have this caliper bracket made. Now what I've got to do is mark out and then weld on this locator here, which essentially stops the caliper from moving, but still allows the axle and the wheel to slide back and forth, similar to like a motocross style setup. So what I've done here is marked as per the plans that I'll put up as a photo in the video now. That's the mark where they say that the bracket needs to be located to, and I've just wound the two tensioners all the way back, and I'm just double checking that it all locates properly still. So now I'll go ahead and wind these tensioners all the way in and do the same thing. Just make sure that this guide piece is going to slide up into the slot on the inside of here. I'll do is grind all the anodizing off this surface, remark it all out, and then pull the swing arm off, sit it on the bench, clamp the bracket on, tack it on, recheck it, and then if it's all good, I'll weld it on. Got it welded on. Now I'll throw the caliper on just to double check that it's going to work, which it does. This extra beautiful. It's nice and snug. Righto. motorcycle lift bench that I bought. Yes, it is a China one. Basically all I could justify spending at the minute. And I'm just going to run through a few little changes that I can already spot that I'm going to do on it. So these are like tie down points. Half the nuts are missing and like they're just a bit dodgy. So what I'm going to do is put a nut top and bottom, maybe put nylocks on the bottom, fix all them up so they're nice and snug. I've noticed too that this safety pin here doesn't really have any ends or anything. So I might like weld a washer onto one end, drill a hole through the other that I can put an R-clip in. Just little stuff like that to make it a little bit better. Notice the foot pedals got some super sharp corners. I'll round them off and give it a repaint. So I've just bolted on this front wheel clamp, and this is the part that they supply as like your front wheel chock, I guess, that you'd sort of roll the bike into before you do the clamp up and do your tie downs up. But have a go at it. The angle is so wrong that if I actually had a road bike tyre up in there, the road bike disc would hit this before the tyre even hits this stupid plate that's completely wrong. Like, I don't know, I can't work it out. So what I'm gonna do is weld my own plate across there, and then I know it'll be right. That's better. Just welded a piece of plate across the fixed jaw. Do the clamp up. Happy days. Working a bit better now. Pretty happy with it for the minute. Also got this center stand here that should be pretty handy. Wind that up and then lift the back wheel up to remove the wheel or whatever you want to do. Stoked.